Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clayton. I'm the Retail Director here at ECRM. ECRM, if you're not aware of us, so we're here to revolutionize the way that buyers and sellers connect. We do this by simplifying and accelerating the product discovery process. This is our 5th webinar of the year, and this series of webinars is where we give industry leaders an opportunity to take the microphone and to share their insights and visions for the future. Today, we are honored and very delighted to be by Amy Clark and Nick Truswell from Lloyds Pharmacy. Lloyds Pharmacy is one of the largest community chains in the UK, with more than 1,500 pharmacies across the country. They'll be sharing current trends and their sourcing needs. And with that, I'll hand over the microphone to Amy. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. My name's Amy Clark. I work for Lloyds Pharmacy for, I think, nearly 7 years. My role and responsibility is commercial manager for new product development. And within that, I am kind of your go-to person for anything new. So I'll be looking at what kind of new products are going to come to the market. I'll be your main point of contact, and anything that you think might be of interest to me, please contact me. So who are Lloyds Pharmacy? So we are your accessible community healthcare partner in the UK. Our core business is RX, where patients come and visit us for a variety of prescribed conditions like COPD, diabetes, mental health, and heart disease. We offered extended healthcare services to meet all the patients' needs. Kind of those extended healthcare services, blood tests, we might do cholesterol tests, take blood pressure, and they kind of relate back to the reason they've arrived at the pharmacy for their RX need. Where we sit, or Nick and I, is the OTC arm of the business. So it's our job to find relevant products that are inspiring for our customers and that complement their RX or service journey, and we need to ensure that we offer great value for these customers. Lloyds Pharmacy has around 1,300 shops, and they're all distributed within the UK. About a third of those are sited in Sainsbury's, which is a supermarket pharmacy. We have millions of people that come through our doors each week, predominantly for RX. We also have an online pharmacy, lloydspharmacy.com, if you haven't visited already. We have about 300,000 visitors to .com each week. So just to give you a bit of insight on who our customers are, they're slightly different for in-store and online. For in-store, slightly more female, less affluent, but of an older age demographic. And then online, again, they're slightly more female, but they're mixed in terms of their affluence, and they're slightly younger in terms of their demographic. We have 3 key customer groups which present the biggest opportunity for Lloyds, and these are defined as healthier side of life. They're 50 plus, they're quite positive about their health. The other group is classed as uphill battle. They're also 50 plus, but they're most likely got a pre-existing health condition, and they'll probably feel quite in poor health. And then the third one is the healthy deprioritized. That's quite a broad mix of age. They're quite time poor, so they struggle to put effort into their healthcare needs. When we look into further detail about these customer groups, we can understand what their interests are. So there's some common themes here in terms of interest. Notably, it's kind of general wellness and lack of energy and sleep. They have issues around their weight and body consciousness. Some of these might be related to pre-existing conditions and what they're being treated for, but you can kind of see the common themes there. And it's kind of what we're interested in looking at in terms of pharmacy. That kind of brings me on to trends and how customers are interacting with pharmacy, which will be presented by Nick.
Lovely. Thanks, Amy. Hello, everyone. So I'm Nick Truswell. I'm responsible for all of our own brand product development and sourcing here at Lloyds. So I'm going to take you through how we see pharmacy and the pharmacy market changing, kind of as a result of some of the things Amy's already sort of outlined, but how we see some of the key trends And ultimately, how does that feed into some of our sourcing requirements at the moment? So this is just a view on how we see the world and how we see the world changing. I guess it really deals with the impacts of, so impacts of advances in medicine, impacts in the way in which pharmacy is funded in the UK, and then finally the impacts of, the way people choose to lead their lives. So how do we see the big ones? So first of all, pharmacy is being asked to do more and more healthcare services that you previously would have gone to a hospital for. So taking up some slack from NHS. I think everyone now will probably know someone affected about this, but drug therapy advances mean that, fundamentally we can now keep people alive for longer, but that does have implications. So usually there are, side effects involved from mild to relatively major. So anything from kind of hair loss, mobility sort of reduction, and the sort of list goes on. I think also people are now being empowered to take control of their own health. So think about the improvements in connectivity. Everyone's got a mobile phone with a health app on. So how you are putting the onus into individual people's hands rather than having to go and see a doctor. People can be more proactive. We have an aging population, but also that aging population is looking to maintain their independence and looking to pharmacy to help them. I think people are living ultimately less active lifestyles now, along with poor diet leading to some quite serious health complications, whether that's diabetes, COPD, and lots of things in the middle. We see mental health now as being just as important as kind of physical health, and that people are seeking kind of holistic solutions for whatever health ailments they may have. It's not just as simple as buying a tablet and then you're cured. People are really looking to take their mental health into account as well. I think everyone on the call will have seen the impacts of COVID on their business. We've certainly seen a huge shift towards our online trading platforms, but also our customers wanting to search for information through those platforms as well. And we're seeing huge growth across all those formats. Alternative and complementary health, I think, as people start reflecting perhaps on their own sort of well-being, they're interested in searching out, complementary solutions, as well as maybe sort of traditional drug therapy. And then also the last one is people perhaps not wanting to modify their lifestyle, but perhaps wanting to kind of lessen the health impacts of it. So maybe think about smoking, whereby they may actually quite like to smoke, but would choose to maybe vape to have a kind of less harmful impact. And also from a cosmetic point of view, maybe people seeking superficial solutions rather than maybe fixing the cause. So certainly in some of our more beauty and sort of skincare propositions where we're seeing, the kind of instant facelifts that are extremely popular at the moment. So with that in mind, how does this then distill down into, I guess, a group of 8 or so specific sourcing needs that we also want to talk about? So, okay, so the first one, pain relief. Not just drug therapy, but we have an enormous market and constantly growing in kind of drug-free pain solutions. So anything from TENS machines to hot and cold remedies, but we see enormous growth in there. And for all sorts of pain. So whether that's joint pain, whether it's things like headaches, migraines, arthritis, and minor ailments like toothache. So customers regularly looking for alternative solutions rather than just referring to a sort of therapeutic drug to help them. Medical devices, so anything that can help customers diagnose, anything to help remote monitoring, particularly around circulation and again on pain devices. So again, linking back to the point about connectivity, we're seeing this as the kind of future and maybe a different application to an existing technology. Blood pressure monitors have been around for years. for home use, but actually starting to link those to your phone or another sort of connected device. You can start monitoring and sharing your data either for yourself or with a healthcare professional. Again, vitamins and supplements, as people start thinking how else they can look after their bodies, but specifically we're looking for new ingredients. And again, specifically around anything that drives and helps immunity, anything that helps gut health, and then finally inflammation. So particularly around people suffering from arthritis, that kind of thing. Also, still following on the healthcare vibe, we also recognise a growing need for medicated skincare, but really focused on kind of medical device grade formulations, so that are really going to help customers and patients deal with an array of kind of skin conditions. Okay, so then moving on to the final four. Okay, so I touched on this briefly, but connectivity. Talked about this a little bit earlier on, but we're starting, as we're starting to make a lot of the devices that we've used before connected to each other, how can we use that data to help people achieve better health outcomes? So anything that that enables us to do that, whether that's kind of emerging or kind of breakthrough technology, we'd really be interested. I guess everyone's now used to doing lateral flow tests over the last year, but we're also seeing growth and an interest in just general self-testing. So whether that's anything from fertility to DNA profiling, right through to maybe drug testing or blood markers for potential illnesses. So again, enabling people to take control of their own sort of health and well-being, rather than necessarily just relying on the doctors. I guess the flip side of medical and medicinal sort of targeted skincare is really the sort of premium beauty skincare. So again, looking for kind of particularly ingredient-led natural propositions, and also more sort of science-led, I guess, instant effect kind of products. So your facelift in a bottle. So anything that kind of provides those sort of instant lifts and instant boosts, and also not forgetting that ultimately there'll probably be a knock-on on people's sort of general well-being as a result of that as well. And then the final one is something that I think we're all taking very seriously now, is sort of mental health and well-being. So, you know, we've as a sort of pharmacy, we've traditionally been very strong in, you know, helping people get better from just a physical point of view, but really lots of our customers now are wanting to understand how we can help them from a holistic point of view. So anything along the sort of complementary treatments, or actually just different approaches to things, we'd be really interested in understanding and talking to you, because we very much feel that, you know, health and people's wellness are very much interlinked. It's not just one or the other. People are looking to sort of combine and get a sort of more holistic approach to their treatment. Okay, so that's our little, I guess, thumbnail sketch of Lloyds Pharmacy complete. So thanks for the opportunity. I think I'm passing over to Clayton for Q&A.
Wonderful. So we haven't had any questions yet, so feel free. We do have a lot of people participating today. So there is a Q&A function just down the bottom. So please add in your questions there. To start with, I know, Nick, you are participating in a packaging summit that's coming up. Is there anything that's happening within Lloyds in relation to the packaging?
Sort of, well, in fact, I'm kind of leading our sustainability agenda within our sort of supply chain. So we are looking at, I guess, general sort of reduction in cardboard, move to recycled materials, and ultimately very interested in new approaches to packaging. So very interested in understanding, you know, what are the emerging capabilities. How can we still make a product look appealing to customers whilst also being very, very conscious of our environmental responsibilities as well.
And Lloyds also has a very big wholesale business. Some people might not be aware of that. Maybe you could talk us through a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So I guess probably the easiest way of comparing is, if people may be familiar with the Boots company in the UK, whereby they have a sort of large network of owned retail pharmacies, and up until very recently had a fairly large wholesale business. we kind of mirror that same structure. Our stores tend to be, own stores tend to be more kind of community based rather than high street, but we actually have the UK's largest pharmaceutical wholesaler. So we deliver to all pharmacies in the UK. So I think that stands at about 11 or 12,000 at the moment. That includes the likes of Boots. And we have kind of a couple of different propositions, whether that's daily deliveries to all points in the UK or weekly deliveries. It tends to be sort of more bulk orders, the sort of more toiletries and sort of beauty products. But ultimately, that's whilst we're, I guess, principally discussing Lloyds Pharmacy, that also flows through us as well. So able to offer that distribution too.
And as you're covering mainly own branded or the own branded suite, are you finding some different changes within own brand within the Lloyds Pharmacy format?
I guess outside of, we're seeing more shoppers switching into own brand. So we're seeing, significant growth in our own brand penetration of our total retail sales.
There's a lot more trust in our brand now, isn't there? So, the heritage of Lloyds Pharmacy and the trust that it presents, people are comfortable to buy, we see 75% participation in the likes of paracetamol and ibuprofen. People know it's the same thing as the kind of brand leader. So yes, that's definitely there. And we've decided, haven't we, in certain areas where we are, predominantly own brand, haven't we, Nick?
Yeah. So we've, I guess an example of the last sort of year or so, we've taken whole categories and converted them to own brands, things like reading glasses, cosmetic accessories, that kind of stuff, hot water bottles. But also I think it's emboldened us to maybe move forward into categories that perhaps aren't ever so own brand centric. We have a lot of heritage on the health side, but really we feel there's a lot to go at on the more kind of, I guess, beauty and the sort of well-being side that we are starting to progress now.
We have one from Elliot Coyne. Thank you, Elliot. Hi guys, thanks for the oversight. I'm just wondering if you are looking for products that would be ranged both in-store and online, or would you consider online only?
Both, quite frankly.
Depends what the proposition is. I think I know who this is, Elliot. Looking for both. We really want to stretch online. We want more customers to come and visit us online. If you've got a product that hits those targets of the younger demographic, more on the well-being side, that's kind of where we're hitting from an online perspective. It's not the distress-led purchase that you'll see in store. It's kind of that more well thought out purchase, and they're probably going to spend a bit more as well. So we're kind of erring on putting more expensive products online, would you say?
We just have one from Chloe. Do you have eyewear requirements currently? Either ready readers, blue blockers, or sunglasses?
We do indeed. Yeah, we have our whole category right now is an own brand purchase. So yeah, we sell ready readers, sunglasses, and we are into the blue light products. So yes, we do.
Talking about natural ingredients, is there a big focus within Lloyds onto natural ingredients?
I think we do need natural. Yes, it's not it's not the lion's share of our business. What works well for us is being able to, the claims, and if the products are natural and they have some good claims on, helping a healthcare need, that works well for us. But of course, complementary products as well.
Question on lead times. Can you tell me a little bit more about the lead times on own label? What are we looking at? And which season would you now be developing for? Okay. That was from Jubin.
Yeah, so I guess lead times tend to differ by the sort of regulations that we have to develop the product by. So if it was a medicine or a medical device or a cosmetic, cosmetics tend to be the shortest lead times. Medicines tend to be the sort of longest. At the moment, we are developing product for the sort of second half of this financial year. So from sort of September onwards, really. But no, the lead time is pretty much dependent on the sort of regulatory environment that a product will fall into.
Question from the same person. So how do we start the development process on cosmetics or wellness products with Lloyds Pharmacy?
Okay, well, the good news is that we have some open sourcing briefs for those. So I'd suggest that would be a good one to get in touch, and then I can put you in touch with the appropriate person in my team that's looking after that development.
Wonderful. Do you do any cosmetics in store? Yes, there is. A comment was, I can't see it on the website, but I believe there would be, Amy.
We do cosmetics in store. We do work with kind of the leading brands. They usually merchandise themselves in store and own that space. I think there is ambition to put them online, but I'd have to check that out.
Sure. Does Lloyds carry non-medical OTC products such as school supplies, spa sets, hats, gloves, jewelry, and hats?
So we do some sort of winter warmth products, so hats, scarves, gloves, hot water bottles, that kind of stuff. We don't really
some Christmas gifting as well.
Yeah, we don't really go as far as sort of jewelry, but we do have kind of, yeah, as Amy says, kind of gifting opportunities that we develop for, but maybe not right into kind of sort of jewelry and that kind of thing.
Are you still in need of PPE products like gloves and masks?
No, thank you very much.
hand sanitizer coming out of our ears. Offers. Yeah,
no, I mean, I guess we're probably not as full as some of our competitors are here in the UK, but we've that business is effectively split into two for us. So the stockpiles that we are continuing to use to keep our people safe, so our colleagues in stores and warehouse, and we are selling, albeit a much reduced range in store that's kind of principally down now to just hand sanitizers and either reusable or type 2R sort of face masks. So we're kind of seeing maybe a phase of passing through PPE and probably into more sort of lateral flow tests as a result of kind of COVID purchasing at the moment. But I guess we definitely see though PPE as it's now become a kind of all year round permanent category for us in pharmacy, you know, that people's buying and behavior has changed enough that it's not just we need to list this whilst the kind of we're dealing with the pandemic. We think it will be a category ongoing, you know, as it is for any of you that may have traveled to, you know, sort of Far East, particularly in Hong Kong after SARS, where people are continuing to wear, you know, face masks on the underground and things and in crowds.
And it really does ebb and flow. Sometimes we've got so much extra capacity, we've got so much overflow of products, and you think everything's shut down, there's new restrictions that come in, and then it's in demand again.
Feast and famine, especially vitamin D as well. That was a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably getting less so. You know, a year ago when there was there'd be a new announcement and there'd be a spike. We're probably seeing that start to ebb away a little bit now. I think at least in the UK now, where, you know, most restrictions have now been lifted. I think unless there is a sort of significant, I guess, requirement for the government to go back to using masks, maybe on public transport, it's probably the only time we would see a big spike again, I think.
So how much interest does Lloyds have in organically certified products?
I think I'd go back to the point that Amy made a little while ago, that I think, you know, if the organic product comes with a reasonably strong sort of benefit and claim, then we will be very interested. We're probably not the destination for people actually seeking out a purely organic sort of range of products. We would tend to be interested if it also carried with it a reasonable sort of weight of claims.
Okay. So CBD, can you give us a little bit of an overview within Lloyds Pharmacy, and if there was any lead times associated with CBD?
Okay. So CBD, we were the first pharmacy in the UK to launch CBD a few years ago, and we went quite big, and now we've honed it back in. Price points of CBD products are quite high for our retail stores. It has a really good conversion level online. So I think if we were going to move CBD forward, we've rationalised in store and we'd look to expand online. Price point, I think, is key, or any associated claims that CBD can make, and that's not a lot unless you put something else with it. So if there's anything else that's going to come through from an evidence point of view, I'm happy to look at that also. Say we've got some clinicals that are coming through to be able to make claims to say that it can treat sleep, stress, anxiety, pain relief. That would be great. Okay,
so it's really claims based that you're looking for.
People are looking for solutions for their health. So if we need to market a product, we need to be able to say what it is and what it does. So that what's the hook?
Yeah, I think ultimately as well. I think once, and hopefully it won't be too long, that the whole CBD, I guess, ranges achieve some sort of, I guess, recognised regulatory, sort of structure or approval that will kind of pave the way to a lot more. As Amy says, you can't really say ever just a lot about it at the moment. And whereas, the business that we're in is very much, here's a product that will kind of help you, and here's how it will help you, and allows people to sort of navigate quite easily.
And it really helps, our healthcare advisors be able to sell the product. The first point of contact when they come into our stores will be the healthcare advisor in the counter, and if they can't actively say what it does, they struggle to sell it.
Another question related to regulations. I'm sure you do get these questions a lot. Would the FDA approval be sufficient for OTC products, or is there a separate regulatory pathway a US company would need to address prior to working with Lloyds? That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately. I guess we have depending on what it is, whether it's a medicine or a medical device, we have a parallel, European, but now British regulatory responsibilities that would need to be hit. So if it was a licensed medicine, it would need to go through the UK's Medicine and Healthcare Regulatory sort of body, the MHRA, and they would be the one to give a license. If it was a medical device, it would need to go through what's historically been called the European CE marking process. But that's complicated slightly now that the UK no longer part of the European Union. So there's a sort of parallel CA marking sort of process. But yeah, very much so. FDA would not enable us to actually deal to sell that product in the UK. It would have to be UK compliant with the UK notified body or MHRA.
Another question related to shipping. So do you have a central shipping location, and where would suppliers ship to?
We do, yep. So we've got two main sort of receiving warehouses, one in the north of the country, one in the south. If it was international purchases, then we also operate our own sea lanes. So we could purchase products on either FOB or ex-works basis. So we're reasonably flexible and have capability to operate globally, depending on where the product is.
We have a question related to one of the things that you listed as a sourcing need. So we have, what are the price ranges for premium skincare that you are currently sourcing? That was from Robert Luke.
So and Amy, you might know this a bit better. So I think we're probably in like the maybe 20 to 40 British pounds.
I was going to say 25 to 50.
So what's that? $30 to $60 US, maybe 25 to 50 euros, something like that.
So what are you looking for as a supplier apart from what you said, or what makes a good supplier in your mind?
So I guess from an own brand point of view, they would be required to meet our kind of compliance and sort of audit standards. So we would look for a sort of live quality and social responsibility audit. They would also be sort of required to pass our kind of compliance checks as well. We are, I guess, we don't require suppliers to be able to deal direct to the UK, so we will be able to operate and pick it up ourselves depending on where it is in the world. So those would be the real big hurdles, obviously outside of having a great product and a price that we all sort of think is appropriate, but they would be the big hurdles that would need to be gotten over to actually be onboarded as a supplier, at least from an own brand point of view.
I'll say for branded, it's kind of that kind of joint business planning to grow the business, kind of, you know, how we activate from a promotional point of view. You know, we bringing it out at the, you know, the front of the shop. How are you telling customers to come to Lloyds Pharmacy for the product? Exclusivity is always nice too. So it's kind of those things, making sure there's a strong marketing plan. We just don't want it to sit on the shelf and gather dust. And it's kind of like we you know, prefer suppliers to be telling our, you know, the customers, the UK customers, that these products are available. If that's not possible due to overseas, that can be done by us, but then that would be, you know, investment required for that.
Okay. And it's really, if they have those active ingredients, and it's really nice to be able to tell a story. You have the pharmacist in store that can really explain it. So if there is, for instance, a vitamin D, it's beneficial for X, Y, and Z reason. And they can really get that pharmacy experience where they're talking to a pharmacist and you're talking directly to the consumer there. So I think that would be helpful too.
Yeah.
In terms of an audit, Nick, what would an audit entail? If you could give us just a brief overview.
Yeah, sure. So we're members of SEDEX. So from an ethical audit point of view, it would be great if our suppliers were also members of the SEDEX or the SMETA sort of scheme. It's not the end of the world though, as long as that if they aren't, we would commission our own. They may have live audits from other similar kind of bodies that we would also look at as part of onboarding. Then on the quality side, we would want to look at their, well, it's GMP, ISO certificates, but we would also look to commission our own sort of quality audit that's either done by a member of one of my extended teams or some of the third-party service providers that we use. That's generally out in Asia, though.
And a couple of questions on Ireland. And I'm not sure how much you guys work in your capacity with Ireland, or is that handled from the UK, or is that a different function over on the island?
Handled by a different function, but we do talk to them and share ideas and different products.
So also though, I would maybe categorise that. Are we talking Republic or Northern Ireland? Sure. So the Republic is part of a separate part of the group that we are actually no longer, I guess, part of. Northern Ireland, though, falls within the Lloyds Pharmacy field of operations. So Northern Ireland effectively belongs to the same company that we work for.
Okay. I think that does answer the question. Do you service the Irish market for wholesale and logistics department?
So again, I'd refer to the previous answer. Northern Ireland, yes. Republic, no.
Got it. Thank you. Does Lloyds have a fixed range change window for introducing new brands to online and or in store?
So there is a merchandising calendar. Usually we'll do a range change by category twice per year, depending on the level of change. We call them majors or minors. We can go earlier. We can put things onto secondary site on a promotional cycle. So we could probably, you know, if it goes on for like 2 months while we wait for it to go into its home, its category home, we can go a bit earlier. But yeah, twice a year we usually make a change.
Do consumers have loyalty preference to the UK and EU produced products? Are there opportunities for international suppliers? And this one is coming from Australia, looking for Australian made, from Angeline Lopez.
I would probably say no. I mean, I think there are some markets or maybe some brands that people are looking for British made, but I think that's probably just a bit of a sort of rebound from a lot of the Brexit rhetoric, to be quite honest. I don't think across the UK people are necessarily looking for product from a specific territory, so I think they will be relatively open to kind of anything, really. I don't think they will be polarized to a particular purchasing location.
Another question on certifications. So we have the Leaping Bunny diverse trade women owned. I don't think there is a certification in the UK for women owned or diversity, unless I'm mistaken. No.
Cool, good question. I'm not quite sure. I would have to go and have a look into that one. Certainly, I am not aware, but that doesn't say that it doesn't exist.
Looking to get our respiratory medical devices into the pharmacy retail channel. They're currently selling into the acute channel. Would that be relevant for Lloyds Pharmacy?
I think we'd have to clarify whether they were kind of more hospital products that they'd be used in the care or of a patient. If that was the case, probably not. If they were the more home use things, then maybe. So I think that will be probably need to clarify exactly what the proposition is there.
Sure. Okay. And the current stock of respiratory medical devices, what do you look at the moment or look for?
So I would, and Amy, please chime in. I think at the moment, the only sort of products, the only products that we have are to help strengthen your kind of your lungs through sort of breathing exercises. The sort of resistance products that people may use if they suffer from asthma, that kind of thing.
I think it's quite difficult, isn't it, when a lot of the stuff would be become available for free on the NHS or via prescription. For example, I don't know, sleep apnea. You know, you get the device via your doctor. It might cost a few £100, but they'd be prescribed it to help them open their airways while they're asleep.
Perfect, thank you. There is a lot of
anything for respiratory. We do, air humidifiers, those kind of things. We can those kind of things to help asthma and people that have got dust allergies and those kind of things. They would work for us.
We do have one on this growing sexual wellness category, especially in devices. Is Lloyds Pharmacy working in the sexual wellness category?
We do. I think it's something that we need to do a lot more of. We do very well with the likes of Viagra and Sildenafil. In terms of wellness and kind of other areas, we do have a partnership with Love Honey in terms of different toys and whatnot. And we have partnerships with lots of Bracket for condoms and different lubrication. But I think it's something that we need to look a little bit further on. I think we're going back to Nick's point around testing. Is more around male hormone testing and female hormone testing in terms of sexual wellness. People that have got low testosterone, looking for solutions, testing, how do they get it better? That'd probably be my area of interest in particular.
What are your criteria for adding menstrual products to your range? Menstrual products are made in the UK, advice or for high quality. What are you looking for menstrual products?
So menstrual products, you'll see that through the customer definition of the people that are coming into the stores, they're 55 plus, they're not menstruating. So we only have a very small credible range for people that are visiting the pharmacy on a distress-led mission. If there was something fundamentally different that might be of interest, we'd probably be looking for, it would be online only. I haven't seen in any of my searches that it's a particular area of interest for our consumers just yet.
Zero waste, natural, vegan products, is it important to Lloyds Pharmacy?
I think we're very conscious around waste and the impact that we're having on the environment. I think vegan is perhaps not quite on our radar as much, because a lot of the products that we sell as in medicines tend to be kind of exempt from a lot of those sort of regulations or sort of lifestyle choices. but sustainability certainly is.
Okay, I think that might be it. So thank you very much to Nick and Amy for joining us and sharing that crucial information regarding your sourcing needs for 2022 and beyond. Here on the screen, you can see the best ways to reach out to Lloyds Pharmacy. Lloyds Pharmacy is a Range Me partner. So on the Lloyds Pharmacy website, if you go down and scroll down to the bottom to become a supplier, you can submit your Range Me products there. You can also attend one of the ECRM programs coming up. You can see those listed on the screen. We will also share these slides, so you can click on any of those if you wanted to participate on the programs or submit your products directly through Range Me. Just want to say a big thank you to Nick and Amy for joining us. Thanks for all the questions that have come through. We will take those and I will pass it on to Nick and Amy, and we'll try to get a few more of those answered. But just thank you everyone for your time today. We wish you a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Clayton. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.